the industry for more than a decade, I knew there was a better way. It's an exciting time to invest in gold and silver with the most significant bull market I've ever seen. But please don't overpay for your stuff. At KEPM, we focus on low-cost bullion only, and we don't charge a commission when you sell. We would love to connect with you, so call our office at 720-605-3900
or go to goldwithjustin.com today.
To switch today.
You're listening to News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM. Live from high atop Monroe Center in downtown Grand Rapids, we're talking about what matters most to you in West Michigan. Join the conversation now at 616-774-2424. That's 616-774-2424. It's West Michigan Live with Justin Barkley on Wood Radio.
You know, I am grateful to be here today. I almost lost it on the ice out there. I'll tell you, by the grace of God, am I here right now. Be careful out there. It looks much cleaner than it is. And in a lot of places, the snow has been cleaned up. And yesterday, the roads were really nice because it was warm enough that, you know, some of the salt and the things they put down are able to warm it up. But it's just so cold right now that that's just not going to be the case. And wind chills and the rest of it. We're at 2 below is what I'm looking at on the thermometer right now downtown Grand Rapids. So take it easy. Oh, and I got really good news too.
News, weather, and traffic. And the biggest stories of the day. We're talking about what matters most in West Michigan and beyond. This is the Big Three. Now today's Big Three.
Yeah, the stories that matter most. Ones you'll hear about around the water cooler, the dinner table, no matter where you are, those are the stories. And big breaking news. In fact, one story I wouldn't have known about unless our intrepid producer, Adam, in the booth came in and said, hey, did you hear this? Oh, it's probably the biggest story of the day. We'll get to that coming up in our Big Three, powered by our good friends at Heartland Home Mortgage. Dave Galloway and the team. Well, they're standing by ready to help you. Interest rates, mortgage rates, boy, they're lower than they've been in years. And whether you want to buy, refi, home equity line of credit, now's the time to save you some money, put a little bit more back in your pocket. Reach out to them at hhmlending.com.
Number one.
All right, the biggest news, at least in my mind, of the day, has to be this story. You're waiting for it. People are wondering, yeah, we'll believe it when we see it. Don Lemon has been arrested.
This is the beginning of what's going to happen here. When you violate people's due process, when you pull people off the street and you start dragging them and hurting them and not abiding by the Constitution, when you start doing all of that, people get upset and angry.
When you go into churches and you disrupt religious ceremonies and you are somebody who has broken the law, you're going to find out. But essentially, when you fool around, that's what happens, Don. And wow.
Number two.
I think it's the age of accountability. People aren't used to this yet, but I call it the find out era. And boy, am I here for it. All right, more news. Speaking of finding out, well, we'll see what it looks like this weekend. And ICE, as protests are planned across the United States amid the intense immigration crackdown that now we know, according to CNN, more than the majority, more than half of folks in America still say if you're here in the country illegally, you ought to go home. Organizers have called for a national shutdown day today. Everyone here at work apparently not participating because we're working. They're telling people to boycott work, which I think is kind of interesting. These cushy people who are paid by billionaires to protest these causes. They're paid. They're telling you not to go to work so you can't get paid. Imagine that. Make that one make sense. They're telling you not to go to school. Don't shop anywhere. You're still going to buy everything that you need to buy on other days. None of this ever makes any sense to me. They want you to disrupt the economy and demand an end to ICE operations, they say. The slogan, no work, no school, no shopping, stop funding ICE. I think it's no work, no school, no shop. No sense. None of it makes any sense whatsoever.
Number 3.
And speaking of which, trying to make this one make sense, she's the Secretary of State, the most lawless in the state's history. And Jocelyn Benson wants to oversee her own election to governor. But meanwhile, she's done a really poor job doing that for other elections. In fact, we already know about that man from China that tried to vote. The only reason we know about that non-citizen from China who voted in the 24 election is he turned himself in.
China.
Now we know there's at least one more. Michigan Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson confirming yet another instance of a non-citizen voting here in Michigan. The headline from the Midwesterner, the Midwesterner.news. And I got to tell you, this story, it's just the tip of the iceberg. Meanwhile, she's telling us she doesn't want Trump or the administration, the Justice Department to come in, and they're not going to hand over any of the voting files, the documents, etc. They're not going to let them take a look. I just don't. To me, it sounds like she's making the case against herself every day as Benson keeps breaking the law. I want to hear from you today. It is a free-for-all Friday. We'll give you a chance to do that this morning as well.
Call Justin now at 616-774-2424. That's 616-774-2424. West Michigan Live with Justin Barclay on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM.
Oh, lots to unpack this morning. Kyle Olson, founder of the Midwesterner, the Midwesterner.news, on the line with us. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
I can't tell you, I had never been in a better mood. I don't know that I thought this would happen. You'd see this guy Don Lemon get arrested. I mean, it's incredible, but here we are, and it's happened. It's a new day. I think it's going to take some folks a little time to get used to this, but this is just scratching the surface. This tip of the iceberg. I mean, everything that's happening in Minnesota right now with the signal chats. I mean, the coordinated, the organized effort to obstruct justice, and it goes at the very top. I mean, there are billionaires funding this. There's foreign money in this as well, it looks like, from what we hear. And then there are Democrats inside the state that are participating in this actively as well. All of these folks need to be held accountable. It just kind of makes me think, I don't know, maybe I'm foolish, maybe I'm naive. It just kind of makes me think, Kyle, that maybe there's a chance that we'll actually hold some of these folks accountable.
Well, and that's what people expect. And when you look at what happened at that church, that just can't be tolerated. And the difference between Trump and Biden is the Trump administration is going to protect freedom of religion, while the Biden administration would look the other way, would encourage it, and probably would fund the people that are doing it. So it's a very different time. And I saw Eric Nesbitt pointed out that there's 3 Michigan legislators that are going to Minneapolis to learn about what they're doing and how they're doing it. Because, of course, the point is a place like Minneapolis is sort of the incubator. And if they can figure out tactics, if they can figure out what works, then they want to spread that around the country. And we could see that in Michigan, Ohio, but states across the country.
I would love to see all of these things actually happen. And we saw what in Georgia, we saw the folks on the ground there, the FBI taking a look at that election center where they had issues and questions about some of the documentation from 2020. I'd like to see these things to go. I know it's taken us a long time to get here, but we still need answers. I understand that a lot of this stuff happened years ago. Some of it's happening right now as we speak, but we need answers, and it is more important than ever before because this 2026 election, you thought 2024 was important, it was, but here in Michigan, this 2026 election, boy, it's going to make all the difference for the state, isn't it?
Yeah, it absolutely is, and the reason that it's important to look at these elections is to understand what system that did they create that they are going to try and continue to use. And so, when you take Jocelyn Benson, for example, she admitted yesterday that there was another non-citizen voter who voted multiple times. And so she's now that number is increasing. She's being forced to acknowledge that. My guess is that this story is not over and it's probably going to continue to grow. But we've got to get to the bottom of who exactly is on the voter rolls. Are there non-citizens who are voting in our elections who shouldn't be? And then yesterday at that press conference, reporters asked her, how many non-citizens have you removed from the rolls? She wouldn't answer that. There were a number of questions that were asked that she just didn't want to talk about. And the reason that she is trying to get out ahead of this is because she knows this is a major vulnerability for the Democrats. It's a major vulnerability for her because she's winning a promotion. And if voters determined she couldn't do the job that she had, why would they promote her to governor? And so she's trying to get out ahead of this. But what she's doing is she's aligning herself with Mark Elias and some of these groups that want to have just anyone voting and anything goes. And so it's interesting she's aligning with DC lawyers and those sorts of people instead of people in Michigan.
Yeah, it's a great observation and indication of where things would head over the next 4 to 8 years with her as governor.
The truth is, this administration wants access to Michigan's and other states' voter rolls so that they can intimidate us and others, so they can make us afraid to vote. So this is our message to the administration. I will not stop fighting for our rights and for our neighbors. We will not stop fighting against every effort and lie that attempts to silence the voices and votes of the American people. And Mr. President, we ask you to work to ensure that if you truly care about election security, that you support election officials on the ground who are working to tackle real threats to our elections.
The threats like secretaries of state who tell clerks throughout the state in 2020, hey, don't inspect those absentee ballot signatures. You don't have to make sure that those are all on the up and up. More mail-in votes in a history of the country ever before. But you don't need to check your work. We got to check our work in math class, but apparently not when it comes to elections. It's absurd.
Well, and then you have a clerk like Tony Ferlini in Macomb County who looks at the fact that there were hundreds of non-citizens who voluntarily contacted his office and said, I'm not a citizen. I should not be, getting a jury duty summons. And then he takes that information and he cross-references that with the voter database, and he finds many, many people who were registered to vote, who apparently voted. And what does she do? She attacks that, and she says that it's unverified. And so she was trying to undermine him, just simply saying, I think we have a problem here, and it starts first with the jury pools and the fact that they would allow non-citizens to go on the juries, but then secondly, to vote in our elections.
It's incredible. I will say that the stories this week have been nothing short of amazing. We've got that former Democrat treasurer, Michigan Democrat Party treasurer. Yesterday, we had that story about her embezzling money from a vulnerable senior right here in our own backyard. These stories never stop. The Midwesterner.news, I know you're on top of it. What are you looking forward to in the days ahead, Kyle?
Well, what you just mentioned about Tracy Kornak, I think is very significant. And this has been out here for That story has been out there for years, and to read the details, the allegations are shocking. And so the fact that she was the treasurer of the Democratic Party, but then she is very closely aligned with the Attorney General, and to see what the allegations are with the Attorney General, I think this shows that this does not stop with Tracy Kornak. But the question is, who is actually going to hold Dana Nessel accountable?
I love that answer. Who's going to do that? I mean, it'd have to be the Department of Justice at the national level, I think, at this point. She's not going to do it. Nobody in the state, I think, is even capable. But boy, oh boy, it needs to be done. Folks, we're just scratching the surface. And I know somehow Whitmer's in that conversation in the crosshairs as well. All right, Kyle, always a pleasure, my friend. Thank you for taking the time to be here with us, the Midwesterner, the Midwesterner.news.
Happy to. Thanks.
You got it. Don't just bookmark it. Definitely do that too. But you're going to want to make sure that you go and sign up for all the updates too at the Midwesterner.news. Back with more in a minute. Oh, by the way, we got a statement from Don Lemon's attorneys. We'll try and break that down and the latest reports. Don Lemon, former CNN talking head, loudmouth, arrested for interrupting that church service in Minneapolis. Wild. It actually happened after one of those Democrat judges didn't want to let that go. It finally did. More on that after this.
Breaking down the story. It's West Michigan Live with Justin Barkley on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM. FM.
Here are your headlines from the Midwesterner this Friday, January 30th. I'm Robin Poffman. Michigan Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson confirms yet another instance of a non-citizen voting here in Michigan. This follows a review of data uncovered by the Macomb County Clerk. Benson wearing a "democracy is not a spectator sport" sweater while she reveals this news. Now, Benson also refusing to disclose how many non-citizen voters she's removed from the state's voter rolls during her tenure. In other news, Michigan State Senator Democrat Mallory McMorrow making funding for education and public safety part of her U.S. Senate campaign. This in stark contrast to her vote to cut school safety funding in the 2025-2026 Michigan budget. McMorrow is looking to replace retiring U.S. Senator Gary Peters. And a new Fox News poll finds 19% of voters across the country think the economy should be President Trump's top priority. For these stories and more, visit the Midwesterner at themidwesterner.news.
For more than 70 years.
Ladies and gentlemen, the find out era is here. We've got the statement. I didn't realize this. This keeps getting better. It keeps getting better. Don Lemon was arrested last night while he was covering the Grammys in Los Angeles. Was he on the red carpet? You can't make this stuff up. I'm kind of blown away by this. Let me see if we've got any actual footage of this. Greater Manda, good to see you. I can't believe I didn't see it this morning. Panda, I think they may have just announced it. Salo Sue, good to see you over on the VIP Freedom Fam today.
Coming up at 11, we're going to have a deep dive in the data centers. It's a special report today at 11. Locals first. The full podcast drops for everybody tomorrow, but you'll see it locals first today at 11. History Diggers, good to see you over on Rumble. Tennesil 1769. Gary, thank you, Outdoor Gal. SJ, IPV, thank you guys. Appreciate you being here with us. Over on Facebook, we got Sean, Cindy, Bruce, Bunny. Thank you so much, Sherry. Everybody on the YouTube as well, the tubers, the Xers here too. Say hi in the chat, and we'll give you a shout out. Coming up in just a moment, we're back up on the air. Stand by. The behind the scenes, thank you for sharing too, by the way. Appreciate you doing that. That definitely helps us get the word on. Break the algorithm specifically on Facebook. Here we go. This just keeps getting better. I just learned Don Lemon was arrested at the Grammys last night. He was covering the Grammys. You can't make this stuff up. We're going to break that down. The statement from the lawyer coming up in just a moment as well. You'll get the full details on that. But first, thanks to our good friend Kevin Yoder, who's helping people just like you. In fact, if you've got a loved one, maybe a parent who's headed to assisted living, it's that season, right? You're trying to sell that home to help them pay for it all. Getting top dollar matters more than ever, as you know, especially in the market that we're in. You got to work with the best. That's why Kevin Yoder, our good friend, Yoder Real Estate Team, brokered by LPT Realtor, they started this new program. They've created the Senior Smooth Move system from scratch. It's a step-by-step process that helps families sell smarter, plan better, and walk away with more. They protect your loved one's equity and handle it. All of the heavy lifting, every single piece of it for you. Visit seniorsmoothmove.com or call 616-303-5671. That's 616-303-5671. And Kevin and the team will help you today and be so glad to do it. Tell them we said thank you for supporting this program as well. Listen to this, folks. Fox News with the latest on the arrest of Don Lemon. And don't let the attorney tell you he's innocent.
Where journalist Don Lemon has been arrested in connection with an anti-ICE protest at a church in St. Paul, Minnesota.
Now, remember, they want to play this off like he's some kind of he's innocent. He's just a journalist doing his job. It couldn't be further from the truth, folks. That's not what happened. Don Lemon was participating. He was an active participant in that whole interruption of the church. Now, that's breaking the law. You cannot do that. In fact, little old ladies have spent time in jail for, praying at abortion clinics, things of that nature. Don Lemon, guilty of the same thing. The find out era, the era of accountability is here.
Bill Malusian joins us now with more on this breaking news. Hey, Bill.
Yeah, Charlie, good morning to you. Our colleague David Spunt and I getting this breaking news from multiple law enforcement sources just minutes ago, confirming that former CNN anchor Don Lemon has been arrested by federal agents in Los Angeles just after midnight this morning at a hotel. This obviously all in connection with that storming of a church in St. Paul, Minnesota by that group of anti-ICE agitators. Now remember, the feds had gone to judges to try to get Don Lemon arrested before. They went to a magistrate judge in Minnesota who didn't sign off on an arrest warrant for him. Then it went to a judge above him. He didn't sign off on an arrest warrant for him. Then it went to an appeals court. They also decided not to sign off for an arrest warrant for him. So there was experts who were predicting that perhaps the feds would go to a grand jury. It remains to be seen if that's what happened here, but we can confirm.
You know, it's funny, just watching this video they're showing online, Don Lemon with the microphone in the face of the pastor there at that church, and you have parents in the background trying to carry their children out. By the way, parents of color. Not that that should matter, but that's just the case here. And folks, this is just heating up. I'm telling you right now, you're going to see more and more of this. And we'll have more of that story. In fact, Tudor Dixon joins us coming up next after the bottom of the hour news. We'll have the latest. Thanks to the Good Feet store. We're keeping you on your toes, as we've got to be, as all these stories are constantly developing. Stay on your feet and in comfort. Do it with style, right? Feeling good, because you can wear your Good Feet arch supports in any shoes. Gym shoes, dress shoes. You got it. Slippers, all of them. And, of course, they want to help you get through your day, whether it's work or play, in comfort and in style. The Good Feet store. Walk in today at 28th Street, right in front of Costco, or in Portage on Westnedge in front of Kohl's. They'll help you today and happily at the Good Feet store. By the way, tell them I sent you to the Good Feet store.
Now, the latest news from West Michigan and beyond. News Radio Wood 1300 and 1069 FM.
Good morning. It's 9:32 above on the Lakeshore. We've got 0 in Grand Rapids. I'm Dave Wheaton. This is Wood Radio News. President Trump and Senate Democrats have reached a government funding deal, but the government will still partially shut down if a package of funding bills isn't passed by midnight tonight. Fox's Madeline Rivera in Washington.
Right. The deal would separate the DHS funding bill from 5 other bills. DHS would be under a 2-week stopgap bill to allow Democrats more time to negotiate changes, but senators overnight were not able to reach an agreement to speed the process up. GOP Senator Lindsey Graham spoke about his objections last night, criticizing Democrats for demonizing ICE, so senators will return today to try to pass the funding bill again. Either way, though, this likely won't avoid a partial government shutdown because the House still needs to come back and pass the measure, and that's not expected to happen until Monday at the earliest.
The economy in West Michigan has been strong, and Danny Johnson, he's Vice President of Strategic Initiatives for the Grand Rapids Chamber of Commerce, and he was on West Michigan's Morning News to provide us the overall outlook for business in West Michigan. The word of the
All right, that's enough. I was just trying to see if we had anything new here, anything extra. Let me, you know what? Let's listen to more on this report from Fox News. Yes, Bunny, we're doing good. You know, that's just helping break the algorithm. People sharing, you guys sharing, it really makes a big difference. We appreciate that. Hang on, here we go.
To a grand jury. It remains to be seen if that's what happened here, but we can confirm that Don Lemon was arrested in Los Angeles by federal agents just after midnight Los Angeles time at a hotel. Now, typically, standard procedure with an arrest like this is the defendant will likely make their first court appearance sometime the same day. So there's a chance we may see Don Lemon make his first court appearance in Los Angeles sometime today. But obviously, this is going to grab all sorts of headlines. 3 other protesters from that church storming, have already been arrested, including who the feds say was the organizer of that protest. The woman in the middle there is a school board member in St. Paul, and then the mugshot on the right is an online personality / agitator, if you want to call him that. He's known as the Woke Farmer. Those were the 3 people that the feds had already arrested, but we have confirmed that Don Lemon has now been arrested in Los Angeles in connection with that viral incident. We all saw the video of it. Wow. That spread and drew widespread condemnation. The feds have been going after these people on FACE Act violations. So this is still breaking news. Once we get more details about the potential charges here, a court appearance, we'll, of course, update our viewers, guys.
Really appreciate it. Of course, if it was a grand jury that did indict him, that's pretty unimpeachable. Bill Milesian, thank you so much.
Yep.
More Fox and Friends.
All right, folks. Sorry, I had to check something real quick. Dun, 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 dun. We're about, looks like we're probably about a minute away from getting back up, jumping back up on the air here. So stand by for news. Okay, so I just saw that it looks like Don Lemon could, in fact, be in court as early as today. That would be interesting. Don Lemon in court as early as today. Stand by, folks. Back on the air. Here we go.
Radio.
Well, they say he could be in court as early as today. Arrested last night, Don Lemon. Don Lemon, former CNN talking head, loudmouth. Again, he was involved in not just covering, not just documenting, but he was involved, is actively participating in that whole mess at the church. Unfortunately, back in Minneapolis just days ago, and finally been arrested after a long time of trying to get some judges, leftist judges would not. And this is how important everything, when it comes to getting these judges, this is how important it all is, because these guys are making their own law.
Alert, journalist Don Lemon has been arrested in connection with an anti-ICE protest at a church in St. Paul, Minnesota. Bill Malusian joins us now with more on this breaking news. Hey, Bill.
Yeah, Charlie, good morning to you. Our colleague David Spunt and I getting this breaking news from multiple law enforcement sources just minutes ago, confirming that former CNN anchor Don Lemon has been arrested by federal agents in Los Angeles just after midnight this morning at a hotel.
I'm a little disappointed in this piece. I was hoping it would have been on the red carpet and he would have been for all the cameras to see, but unfortunately, that's not the case. Tudor Dixon joins us now. We plan to talk about some other things, but this is some breaking news. I got to get your comment on this. This is your reaction. I am absolutely elated because much of the frustration I've had, and I think many others have had, is waiting patiently. And I kind of, listen, I take I know patience is a fruit of the spirit. So I kind of take that approach. I gotta be patient here, but I want to see action. I want to see arrest. And I know people have commented on this, and this really makes me, maybe I'm just naive here, Tudor, but this makes me feel good that the find out era is in full force. Welcome in.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I agree wholeheartedly because we are at a point where the First Amendment, our religious liberty, our ability to gather together in a place of worship and worship the Lord is being taken over by these activists. And then you have Don Lemon, who called quite a bit of attention to it. Of course, he's a big name, and he would argue, oh, they're only going after me because I'm a big name. No, because he is a big name, he lends credence to this. He makes it okay for these radical leftists to say, look, this guy who is widely known is telling us this is okay. We should do it more. And Americans across the country are saying, we will not allow our religious liberties to be at risk because there are radical protesters and rioters who are going to shut down our worship service.
Absolutely. It is so sad to see these things. To me, and I know you're a mom, you probably felt the same way, but seeing that photo of that kid in the pew at church was absolutely heartbreaking. I just showed this clip that Fox played this morning of Lemon there in the church confronting the pastor there. There
in the middle of the service.
In the background, I just noticed it. There are parents trying to take their kids to safety behind him. And I noticed one of them was a parent of color. Not that that matters, but at the end of the day, that's what the left pays attention to most. It's heartbreaking for the whole scenario, but the kids, especially in all of this, you should always be able to come together and worship.
It was really the first thing I thought when I saw that happening. And I think probably for people of faith across the country, the first thing you think as a parent is, okay, this weekend, what is my escape plan? Where do we sit? Where are the doors? How do I keep my kids safe if this happens to us? And this is the United States of America, where we're questioning how we keep our children safe at a worship service, because now the mainstream media is making it okay to come in and start screaming at children who are worshiping the Lord.
Absolutely sickening. But the good news is Trump administration's not gonna allow it. It sounds like They're doing all they can to make sure that they hold these folks accountable, and thank goodness for that. We've got other big stories too. By the way, I should probably do this. There is a statement from the attorney Abby Lowell who says Don Lemon was taken into custody after his coverage of the Grammy Awards. He's been a journalist for 30 years, and he's constitutionally protected. Work in Minneapolis was no different. So this is where it all falls apart for me. He was not just merely covering the event that happened. He was actively participating in it. And I think that's clear to everyone. Your constitutionality, and all of that goes out the window whenever you actually get involved. And you know what? It's very similar, unfortunately, to this case of Alex Preddy the other day. They wanted to tell us this guy's such a peaceful individual. There's nothing to see here. It's just like the 5-year-old being taken into custody by all of these hoaxes. They're constantly lying about these things. We now know Preddy was like out actively interfering in not just that day, but in other days when he was actively out interfering in investigation, obstructing those federal agents, attacking them. Didn't look very peaceful to me. When the truth comes out and people are able to see it, I think the difference is obvious. It's glaring.
And it's a devastating situation. And the question I have is, why are Democrats not coming out and saying, my gosh, we radicalized these people. We made them a promise that if they went out and they fought against federal law enforcement, they would be heroes. And we didn't tell them the truth. You can't do this. It's a felony. It's illegal. And you are genuinely putting your life on the line. And here's a guy who, by all of his friends' accounts, was this wonderful guy. And then you see these contrasting videos of him going over to an ICE vehicle and kicking the tail light out. And you think, how did this happen that the left in this country started lying to people and telling them, go out there and do this stuff and you'll be fine? But notice when Tim Walz says that, he's behind the gates of his home. He's yelling from literally behind the gates of his home, go out and put your body out there. Go out and put your body in front of a gun. You do it for me. I'll stay here in the safety of the governor's mansion. Just like when his wife said she'd love to open the window and smell the tires burning to know people are protesting and putting their lives on the line. I mean, where are the Democrats who are condemning the language that gets people in this mindset that they can do this, that they can go against law enforcement?
Tudor Dixon right now, host of the Tudor Dixon podcast. She's going to be at an event. By the way, it's now more important than ever before to get involved. And if you've been wondering how you can do that, it's events like this. Pizza and Politics coming up. It's a Secretary of State forum, and it's happening this Tuesday at 5:30. The old Art Van, from what I understand, on Alpine is where this is. You can come by and meet all these folks and have conversations, and Tudor will lead some of those conversations. I want to talk about that event and in just a minute. But first, let's, if we can, cover this, because you just mentioned something that I thought was really interesting. Not just Tim Walz yelling from behind the gate there, hey, you go out and protest on my behalf, but it's very similar what's happening or planned for this weekend. I don't know if you've been seeing the updates about this Ice Out, another event protest where they're telling people to take the day off. They're telling people not to shop. They're telling people don't go to school. And I just laugh because it's the same people that are out there. Some of these Hollywood types, they're going to get paid no matter what. The rest of these activist types are getting paid. They're getting paid by billionaires who are funding all this chaos and nonsense. They're getting paid, but they're telling people, hey, risk losing your job or close up a business. Or don't go out, and if you work, you don't stand with us. What kind of nonsense is this?
Well, and there's adversarial governments behind this. I mean, let's not forget that there is influence from China. We know that the CCP has a heavy influence over Code Pink that is going out there and telling people and funding this operation to tell people to go out in the streets. And really the motivation for them is that they have this theory that if you can get 3% of the country to go out and do this, then you cause enough of a disturbance that you can overthrow the form of government, that they can overthrow this democracy. This is what this is about. It's not about Americans. Americans are being useful tools for adversarial governments in this case, and we have to be aware of this. I will promise you this will not be effective because people are not motivated to throw their money away, and they're not motivated. I mean, if you got to go to the store, you go to the store. We are a land of convenience. Americans are not willing to give up what other people are willing to give up. So it will fail, but it's the beginning of them trying to get these people in this mindset and seeing how far they can take it.
That's right, Tudor Dixon, the Tudor Dixon podcast. The Pizza and Politics event coming up Tuesday. If folks want to come out and be a part of this, listen, we don't have to look much further than the recent development. Secretary of State, the most lawless in the state's history, Jocelyn Benson. Again, we find there's another, she finally admits to it, another non-citizen voter attempting to vote there. And thanks to some of the news that's come out here recently on this, we know about the one from China in the 2024 election. That Secretary of State role is a lot more important than just making sure you get your license tabs on time. And that's an easy process. Yes, that's important too. But we're talking about our elections here. And that's why this conversation matters.
That's it, exactly. That's why this position is so important. That's why there are questions that we have for the candidates that are really key questions. Like one of them is Jocelyn Benson had almost $4 million when she ran in 2022. That is a massive amount of money to go up against the Democrats. I guarantee you Garland Gilchrist will have that or more. And I believe that he will be their nominee. They've already moved. You already see them moving people, their chess pieces around, and he's been picked by whoever the powers that be are to go into that Secretary of State race. So how do we go up against them in a general? All of these things are critical. We have to make sure we have control of our elections. We have to make sure that these non-citizens aren't voting. We saw that report came out of Macomb County that these non-citizens are voting. Now, Jocelyn Benson is essentially admitting it. She's trying to take a W here by saying, oh, I don't know if the numbers are completely accurate. I think it was only one. Well, wait a minute, it's one here, it's one there. And then suddenly we're hearing that non-citizens are being called to jury duty as well. So, these are folks who are not they're not a jury of your peers, but somehow they're going to judge you. This role is critical, not just for to make sure that our elections are safe, but to make sure that we have a fair government across the board in the state of Michigan. So we want to talk to the folks about what they will do to ensure that we have a fair government, but also what they're going to do to make sure that they can raise enough money to beat the Democrat nominee.
She is, I can tell you that much. She has definitely failed, but that's what Democrats love to do, is they kind of like to fail upwards.
They love that. I mean, they have a whole system to allow them to fail upwards.
Not this time around, and we appreciate you taking the time. Tudor Dixon podcast, by the way. I noticed today at the Midwesterner, the Midwesterner.news, Whitmer's, Michigan, population increased by 0.27% from 24 to 25, due entirely to immigration. And I wonder whether that's legal or illegal. But the question remains, isn't that? And I know you just did a podcast episode entirely on this yourself. Mm-hmm. In fact, with Peter Schweitzer. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, if you want to listen to how this is happening across the country, he is saying that over the last 13 years, there have been 100,000 Chinese nationals per year who have come here to give birth to a child, so they get birthright citizenship. So 100,000 over the last 13 years. We're talking about over 1 million Americans, natural or birthright citizenship American citizens who are living in China, but when they turn 18, they will be voting in our elections because they have American citizenship. This is a plan. There are actually birthing hotels that they have here in the United States. It's called birth tourism. It is a huge problem. We need to be aware of it. You should listen to the podcast. You will learn exactly what's happening. It's happening in the state of Michigan. And one other thing I will say about Gretchen Whitmer, just in the last 2 days, I think it's key to point out that under Gretchen Whitmer, since 2018 to today, We have gone down 9 points in fourth grade reading scores. And just a couple of days ago, she came out and she said, we're going to do something in education. In her last 10 months in office, come on, please, elections have consequences, guys. Do not vote for these people. They don't care about you. They don't care about your kids. They're all about power. That's why you have people moving to the United States to vote. That's why your kids can't read. That's why they don't care about your kids that are actually here, living here. You've got to go out and vote.
Tudor Dixon, host of the Tudor Dixon podcast, and leading that conversation with that former the Secretary of State candidates. Coming up Tuesday, the former Art Van there on Alpine. We'll put the details up in the event section there at justinbarkley.com in the stack today. Thank you, Tudor. Always a pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Keep up the fight. God bless.
You too.
Fastest hour on radio, folks. Is it flying by? We've got just a little bit of time left, and we'll make sure we wrap things up when we come back. Yes, we've actually got some good news, too. We'll make sure we share more of that after this. It's West Michigan Live. Justin Barkley back next on Wood Radio.
FYI, like literally, it's West Michigan Live with Justin Barkley on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM.
Checking the stocks this morning. We got some red on the screen. They've fallen, the latest because of some earnings coming in. Plus, a Fed chair pick announcement from the president. He's announced Kevin will be the next Fed chair, according to his announcement early this morning. Look, we know the stock market goes up and down. We see it happen all the time. And then large, you can be on the right hands, right, when you work with folks like Mike Lester and the crew at Talon Wealth. They want to take a holistic approach to make sure you can get to where you want to go, whether you retire today, tomorrow, or 10, 20 years down the road. No matter when it is, they're going to take care of you. And yes, you will feel much better. You'll feel more confident. You'll sleep better at night. You won't be nauseous on that roller coaster ride. That's right. When you work with the folks at guardingyournestegg.com. Go find out more. Call them at 616-661-1000, but do it today before it's too late.
Wherever you are, stream us on your smartphone. It's West Michigan Live with Justin Barkley on News Radio Wood 1300 and 106.9 FM.
Here are your headlines from the Midwesterner this Friday, January 30th. I'm Robin Poffman. It's a Midwesterner.news original story. Michigan State Senator Democrat Mallory McMorrow making funding for education and public safety part of her U.S. Senate campaign. This in stark contrast to her vote to cut school safety funding in the 25-26 Michigan budget. More evidence of more illegals voting here in Michigan. Michigan Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson confirms yet another instance of a non-citizen voting. This follows a review of data uncovered by the Macomb County clerk. Benson also refusing to disclose how many non-citizen voters she's removed from the state's voter rolls during her tenure. And President Trump holds his 10th cabinet meeting since taking office again. The meeting open to the press. Meanwhile, a premiere at the Kennedy Center for the First Lady's new movie, Melania. It's in theaters nationwide today. For these stories and more, visit the Midwesterner at themidwesterner.news.
Wondering if your retirement
you like
is
Newsmax.
secure.
I like it too. Newsmax has been terrific.
President Trump is right. Millions like you are tuning into Newsmax. You're watching Newsmax on cable. You're going to our streaming channel, Newsmax 2. And you're downloading our free Newsmax app on your smartphones and TVs. Reuters Institute says we're now one of the top news.
All right, we're rolling right along, folks. Man, oh, man. It's one of those days. Drinking from a fire hose. Let me put the event info back up on the screen so you could screenshot that if you want. Again, pizza and politics. I think that's got free pizza. Folks putting this together here on the west side of the state. And again, a good time to have a conversation with some of these folks and dig in and find out who you like and why. Pizza and politics. Pizza and politics. All right. Just a little bit of time left, and then we are gosh. Is this edited? I got to listen to this. Nope, I can't play that on the air. Holy smokes. All right. hang on 1 second. It was Nicki Minaj. It was the rapper who had a response to Don Lemon. She called for Don Lemon's arrest. Did Don call her a racist, I think, which is strange, but hang on, back on. Fastest John Radio flying right by. We got new details on the Don Lemon arrest. I got to get to that here in just a moment. We'll give you the latest first. Thanks to the Good Feet Store powering the show today and every day. Step into the Good Feet Store for more comfort, no matter whether you're at work or play, on the job or with your family. They'll keep you on your feet, on your toes, and in comfort. 28th Street, by the way, right in front of Costco on Westnedge, in front of Kohl's there in Portage. That's the way to do it. And man, oh man, you may be taking your steps, trying to get your New Year's resolutions done, or you're just tired of feeling crummy, right? Time to get comfy again at the Good Feet Store. All right, so here's the latest for the news that we're learning right now on X. Don Lemon indicted because people are wondering, how do they get this done? They had all these crooked judges that weren't able to or wouldn't for whatever reason, because they were corrupted on the left. They wouldn't do it. They wouldn't sign off. Apparently, and if this is true, this is bad news for Lemon. In fact, I'd say it's bad news for Democrats because it really shows where the sentiment is in places like Minneapolis and Minnesota. So Don Lemon indicted by a federal grand jury of his peers in Minneapolis, Minnesota. That's how they did it. Not Texas, not Florida, not Iowa, Minnesota. That says a lot. In fact, we'll talk about it coming up today. The after show is coming up next. Over the weekend, we got a podcast dropping all about data centers. It's a data center dig-in, and we're going to dive deep to find some of the truths on what's going on, why people are so concerned with those data centers, and what you need to know. We're going to talk with a couple of our good friends who are going to walk us through. They've got some extensive experience on it all, and we'll record that 11 today. And then the podcast drops for everyone this weekend. So search for it wherever you download your podcast, the iHeartRadio app as well. All the stories, everything we mentioned today, including the event, the Pizza and Politics, big Pizza and Politics event with Tudor Dixon and those secretaries of state candidates. The old art van on Alpine there Tuesday evening. Doors open at 5:30. We'll put that event up on the stack as well, so you can check that out. But it's going to be everywhere. It's over on X already. It'll be up on Facebook later today too. So just so you know, that's it. Make it a great weekend. We're wishing you the best. The Glenn Beck program is next. I'm Justin Barkley. God bless.
Our Father, who art in the heavens, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses. We forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. God is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever and ever. Amen. Amen.
From the retirement experts at Matson Financial Studio.
WOOD Grand Rapids, WOOD FM Muskegon. The news is next on Wood Radio.
An iHeart radio station.
Guaranteed humor.
All right. That worked out. Let me here we go. Click a couple of buttons here, and then we're going to be up and running, folks.
Get ready to strap in. It's going to be a heck of a ride. It's like drinking from a fire hose.
Never a dull moment, but yes, you'll hear the stories you won't hear anywhere else, and we appreciate you being here with us for them today. I'm Justin Barclay. We got shutdown news. We should probably mention that too. It'll be partial. Sounds like a partial shutdown, at least there. Trump's got to deal with the Senate, which is interesting in itself, but he's got to deal with the Senate to get some of this avoided. We'll tell you what's in the deal. We'll tell you how that's going to work coming up here in just a little bit more on those ridiculous protests. And I'll tell you what's beautiful about right now, these ice out events that are planned everywhere. There's a few businesses that are speaking out. What is beautiful about it? And we should probably put a list. In fact, let me just do this real quick. Hey, Adam, can you see if I think like the newspaper M Live maybe put together a list of the businesses that are participating in the ice out protest that are closing today or whatnot? I think there's an extensive list somewhere. I think they may have already done the work for us. which is fantastic. My wife Lizzie started seeing some of these pop up. She saw one, I don't know, someplace she got a cake or cupcakes or something at one point for her birthday, and she goes, "Oh, so what the heck is this?" Yeah, okay, thank you. So, what? He just sent it to me. We've got it here. All right, stand by, folks. She goes, "What is this?" And I go, "Oh, it's the latest stupid thing of the day." And, I told her, Olivia briefly kind of told her about what it was. Like it matters. Like anybody cares. It's just, what are you doing? What are you doing? So she kind of laughed, and then she goes, "Gosh, I hate that I have to even see this. And now I have to go and follow this account or this thing or whatever." And I said, whatever. I think they're doing you a favor. I really do. I think these businesses are doing us a favor. Why? Because now we got a full list. In fact, the newspaper putting it out there like, oh, we should love these guys. The newspaper in Grand Rapids putting this story out. Now we have a list of businesses not to do business with ever again. We have a list of businesses who are okay with criminals breaking the law and interfering. And some of these are going to be like, if you're looking at the screen right now, you're watching the video here. I've never heard of this. I have no idea what this place is on the front of this article. But they've got the pride flag right off. It's like, okay, well, this is obvious. This is clear. Your business is in. But then I saw like some breweries, like some. So you're telling me like on Friday on a weekend, you're not going to open your restaurant and brewery on a Friday? That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever. Now you feel free to just, blow your own business up. It's already hard enough for restaurants as it is. You only get so many weekends a year. You only get so many Fridays a year. So you're saying that in order to defend the people who are going out there to fight federal agents trying to take criminals, we're talking about rapists, murderers, domestic abusers. Those are the people we're talking about. They're going after, and particularly in Minnesota. Freddie's case, I think the one the other day that he was involved in, they were going after, there was an operation, they were going after a guy who was beating on his wife or his kids. Why are you defending this? Democrats, please make this make sense. Why are you I don't think most of them understand. I think most of them probably don't know. And you got trolls in the comments here. I hope you're listening. I really hope you listen to what I'm saying because it's indefensible. Most of them don't make any sense, though. Most of them are not capable of actually hearing any truth, logic, or common sense. It won't even permeate them. And the thick skulls of mush that they have underneath. Several Grand Rapids businesses, the article reads here, have also committed to closing on Friday. They're organizing a local protest. Okay, so no shopping, no work, no school. Okay. No sense. It makes no sense. No shopping, no work, no school, no sense. It makes no sense. Make it make sense. So here's what they have. There's an anti-activist group planning a boycott on businesses owned by the mayor. I didn't know the mayor had business, but apparently he does, to pressure him in the Grand Rapids City Commission to declare Grand Rapids a sanctuary city. Well, that's the last thing you want to happen. But yeah, that's all fantastic. Then you have the rest of the. Now, here's the list. It's an extensive list. I haven't heard of most of these. One or two I have that's like, straight up woke, kind of crazy leftist businesses. I did see a brewery. And then my wife showed me that bakery. I would imagine you're going to see more like this. But when you see them, don't get upset. Don't get frustrated. When you see them, put together your own list here that the newspaper's done the hard, heavy lifting for you, the hard work, and just never spend another dime at any of those places. If that's the case. Now that's what if that's how you feel. I mean, that's kind of how I feel. Now, I'm not a big brewery guy. I don't go drink beer a lot. I don't go to a lot of these places. I have been to a couple of them before. I've been to this one that I saw yesterday. I just saw it show up on my page, and I just kind of chuckled. I go, "What? These people aren't these guys like struggling to stay in business with everything that's going on, and yet here we are." Make it make sense. Here's the one in Grand Rapids I saw. Do what you will with this information. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just saying do what you will with the information. The comments section of this, and I don't know, maybe they've gone in and deleted comments. No, they're still here. Just couldn't help yourselves. Guess what businesses people don't like to patron? Ones that make loud political statements, especially when the statement is socially and morally wrong to its core. You just couldn't help yourself. Generally not a wise business move to get political. Your people in agreement continue their habits. Your people opposed quit coming. No matter your position, you lose when you make it public. I mean, I agree. It's kind of like the sports, like getting all political. I don't mind, like for instance, the NFL, patriotic. Unfortunately, that's become political, but patriotic is it should be bipartisan, right? Like nobody should own that, but unfortunately, we kind of have the left hates America. Although they've kind of decided they're going to wrap themselves in the flag now. They kind of decided that they discovered the Constitution lately, but they pick and choose, kind of like they do with the Bible too. Like they pick and choose what they're going to go along with and what they're not. Here's another comment. Did you have a problem when Obama had ICE doing the exact same thing? Over 3 million deported, which named him deporter in chief, not to mention the cages that were set up and filled with children that were used as photo ops. It's okay when Democrats say it's okay, but when Republican does the same thing, it's wrong. So anyway, these are just some of the comments. Let's see, those are most relevant. Let's see if we get an all. Is it change? Ooh, got any posts for the 13-year-old American that was hacked into pieces by several Venezuelan gang members who were here illegally? Or are you just pandering to the lunatic left? Thanks for showing your true colors. See, this is what I don't think people realize. Like trolls in the comments or businesses over here talking about that. I'm sick of my rights being violated. What about the 13-year-old girl? Were her rights violated when she was raped and murdered? We're talking about Jocelyn Nungary. Do you know who I'm talking about? What about Laken Riley? Were her rights being violated by these people who are here in the country illegally? They need to go home. Whether they self-deport, and what we're actually seeing is there's some data that says some of that's happening actually, or whether they are arrested and hauled off by ICE and sent back home. Either way, it has to happen. And it's not a political way of a thing. And in fact, some may see it that way. I think the Democrats do because this is politics for them. A lot of this is about, unfortunately for Democrats, securing votes. Well, what do I mean by that? Well, every single one of them that's here is counted in the census, whether they're here legally or not. And then that number accounts for how many people you get, how many folks represent you in Congress. So lots of these blue states are getting extra congressional seats, because they're counting illegal aliens. 20 million are here illegally. How many members of Congress? I'm just curious. How many members of Congress, if we got rid of all 20, would be wiped off the slate as well? I'm just curious. I think it's a fascinating question. It's one that we ought to think about. That's the political side of this. Plus, you say, well, they're not voting. They can't vote. Well, we just found out they are in Michigan. The Michigan Secretary of State, who's a Democrat, has admitted to it. You just can't. Some of this stuff you can't make up. Here's another one. If you're taking the side of the people who are breaking the law, I will take the side of never buying any of your products or supporting you in any way. Way to alienate half your customer base. Not very smart. You guys are going to lose an S-ton of business. Pretty stupid political stunt. They're all bad. There's like one or two that support, but I mean, this is really wild. And again, I'm not telling you what to do. You make your own decisions. Maybe you don't care about this stuff, but I just think it's interesting. I put the list out there, and then these people come out with these big statements, these big PR statements. We believe in breaking the law. We support rapists and murderers and killers. And okay, I never thought I'd see the day when that would be a popular thing. But woe to those, they say, woe to those who call evil good and good evil. Woe to those. And woe indeed. So are we going to get a shutdown or not? So President Trump, by the way, we'll wait and see how it turns out this weekend. But President Trump says he did a deal. In fact, I think he posted about some of that over on Truth Social. We got a bit of the update from him. There is a deal with the Senate to keep most of the government open. Now, like I said, again, this all really hinged on DHS funding. So I think what we're going to see is a separate funding piece for DHS for 2 weeks, which I think is ridiculous in itself. It's the Department of Homeland Security. It's not just ICE. They do a lot. They fund the Coast Guard, TSA. I mean, think about this. You don't want that funded? You don't want the Coast Guard funded. You can't separate this stuff out. But that's what Democrats in the Senate are trying to do. They're trying to shut down ICE with this move, or make it look like they did. And that's what this is all about today. So we'll see how it pans out. But here's the problem. The House already passed what they needed to pass. And we talked with Congressman Molinar yesterday. All of those folks from the House, they're in district, which means they're back home. And that's really where they should be most of the time. They're in district right now, and they're doing their job. So this is the problem. It's, even if you get this back on track, right, and you got something to sign and whatnot, you're not going to be able to get them all back until they say what, Monday to get it all signed and done. So we'll be seeing a partial shutdown over the weekend. I don't think there's going to be much of a of effect on it, but we'll see. Shelley, I saw that too. DHS funded till 2029. I think it might be something separately here. Now, you make a good point, Doug. I didn't talk about Iran. It was on my stack like 2-3 days ago. And I really haven't talked about it. And I will say this, although I don't know how deep I want to go into it right now, but President Trump did announce, I must have been 2, 3, 4 days, I don't know, it was a few days ago. This is a problem with how fast things move, right? But he did mention in a post on Truth Social that they were steaming. They had a major armada of ships steaming towards Iran just days ago. And like you said, Doug, it really wasn't very. It wasn't. We didn't spend a lot of time on it, and I didn't see a lot of other people spending a lot of time on it either. Although, let me give you a little bit of what we have. In fact, let me see if I can find his statement on this. Is this the? I think this might have been the speech.
And by the way, there's another beautiful armada floating beautifully toward Iran right now. So we'll see. I hope they make a deal. I hope they make a deal. They should have made a deal the first time they'd have a country.
So that was from last Friday, I think it was. So, or was that, well, it's Iowa. I think that was last Friday. Yeah. Trump issuing a massive naval armada to Iran. Reports suggest a naval blockade. Or is that this Friday? China receives around 89% of Iranian oil exports. Now Russia and China begin naval exercises in the region. Military exercises. That's never fun. Well, but we are seeing, I'm telling you right now, we're seeing some of the things heat up. The U.S. military buildup in near Iran is now larger than the armada previously assembled off the coast of Venezuela. Fool around and find out era is here. Here's some of the. I don't know. I don't know about the video, about the music on that, but somebody put music to it. That's weird. Ever a dull moment with these things. Lots of different things on X about this. My opinion is this. Now, I don't want to see, the U.S. going into some sort of major conflict in Iran. Although what you're watching with this is peace through strength. You see them flex. You see them flex the muscles here. President Trump saying, "Look, don't mess with us. Let's get a deal done." Right? That's what this is. They say they got fingers on the trigger. Fingers on the trigger. Iran. Come to the table, negotiate a fair and equitable deal, make a deal. The next attack will be far worse. This is from the Post President Trump made. A massive armada is heading to Iran. It is ready, willing, and able to rapidly fulfill its mission with speed and violence if necessary. Hopefully, Iran will quickly come to the table and negotiate a fair and equitable deal. Make a deal. The next attack will be far worse. All right. So, again, you don't want to see massive, escalation. We don't want to be involved in foreign wars. But also, judging from what just happened in Venezuela, I'm going to trust these guys. Although I will warn. I mean, you walk in the edge every day, but if we don't do some of these things, the alternative is not great. I'll just put it that way. Speaking of insane, like insane results, insane scenarios, insane people, healthcare providers recently, there's something that happened to their brains. Maybe they're always kind of left leaning, but maybe they all took one too many boosters through the last few years. I don't know. I'm not sure what happened with some of these people because they all feel it. First of all, they're crazy, but they all feel it absolutely necessary to come online and tell you how crazy they are. This woman is from Michigan. Supposedly, she's an OBGYN and abortion activist. Don't know how you could be the two at the same time. Now, there's going to be language here, folks, but I'm going to play it for you anyway. So just a heads up. The purple hair should have given it away. Libs at TikTok posting this. If you were a Republican, would you feel comfortable? This is a good question. I'm curious. If you were a Republican, would you feel comfortable getting treated by this woman? Just putting it out there. You decide.
Daily reminder to tell you if you support what's happening with ICE, you're a piece of shit.
Here's your daily reminder to tell you that if you support the fact that some of these illegals are in raping and killing people, and you support that, well, madam, you're insane. You've literally lost the plot. I don't know who would feel. By the way, I don't know where she works. Maybe she has her own practice, but this can't ever. In fact, I just saw, and this was great. In Florida, I think his name's Ladapo. I think is his name. Florida Surgeon General. I think he revoked the license of one of these wackos, a nurse or, yeah. Here it is. Florida Surgeon General Joseph Ladapo just revoked the nursing license of a labor and delivery nurse again. Wild. Lexi Lawler for saying about Carolyn Levitt's coming child, I hope you blanking rip up from bow to stern and never blank normally again. You blank. Again, I don't know how much of this I can play for you.
As a labor and delivery nurse, it gives me great joy to wish Caroline Levitt a 4th-degree tear.
All right, that's all I'm going to play. She's no longer licensed. Don't know what she's going to do now, but this is the find out era. These people, and what happened to the Hippocratic Oath? And can't you always see it in the eyes? What is it about the eyes? How come you can always just, every single time, there's something going on. I just don't know. What happened to the Hippocratic Oath? First, do no harm and hope no harm, on your patients or even people you disagree with. This is just nutty. I mean, you really can't, you can't say it enough. Trump has picked a new Fed chair. We'll have more on him in the coming days. The statement folks found kind of interesting. Kevin Warsh, the new chairman of the governor of the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System. Kevin currently serves as Shepherd Family Distinguished Visiting Fellow in Economics at the Hoover Institution, lecturer at the Stanford Graduate School of Business. He's a partner of Stanley Druckenmiller and Duquesne Family Office, LLC. Yada, 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 yada. Something about central casting in here, too, as well. Where did I read that? So for some of you, yes, on top of everything else, he is central casting. And he will never let you down. Congratulations, Kevin. President Donald J. Trump. So take with that what you will. I'll have more. I think he's big on Bitcoin. Like he's I want to say big on Bitcoin, but I'll just say he is he's not opposed to it. So that's something that I've seen people talking about today, but we'll have more as we dive deeper into all of that in the coming days, and probably sometime next week you'll be hearing more of that. Trump signed EO putting tariffs on anyone selling oil to Cuba. They're about to fall any day now. Another thing that I thought was kind of interesting, and we didn't get to it last week, but the fact that now America is making more steel. America making more steel than Japan is another big story that I had the other day that I didn't get a chance to get to, although they did get to it yesterday in the cabinet meeting, and I think it was Howard Lutnick, I think, that was able to bring this up for the first time since 1999. The U.S. producing more steel than Japan. That's mills running, people working, America actually making the stuff it relies on. Again, big news story.
Yesterday, they reported for the first time in 26 years, the United States of America produced more steel than Japan. And that is entirely driven by your tariffs.
Amazing.
And all the experts, remember? All the experts got it wrong again. Just ask the experts. They always know. They always have all the answers, don't they? Well, prices of gold and silver has stumbled a little bit. That was the report this morning. I haven't looked at the prices right now. Where are we at? Gold and silver dip from Market News. It's not much. Not much. This silver's still at 99. Gold a little over 5,000. That's what I'm looking at. I don't see it changing anytime soon. Lots of people wondering about that. By the way, our good friend Kirk Elliott, Precious Metals, reach out to Kirk and the team and find out more when you go to goldwithjustin.com. If you're looking, normally it's good to have this stuff anyway. It's your hedge on inflation. I read some stuff yesterday. We'll have to dig into this next week in a little bit deeper dive, but I read some stuff yesterday about what the president is doing with the dollar, and why exactly that is impacting everything, and what you're not seeing happening behind the scenes, which I think might be terrifying for some people. It might be absolutely terrifying for some people. Goldwithjustin.com. Goldwithjustin.com. I would reach out, have those conversations, tell the folks that I sent you, and Kirk will take great care of you. The moron of the day, or the week, probably. This has got to be one of the best I've ever seen. This guy posing as an FBI agent, trying to free Luigi Mangione from jail. Matter of fact, he's in jail. The judges just ruled, breaking news, that Luigi Mangione won't face the death penalty in the murder case of that CEO of United Healthcare. That's shocking. That's absolutely shocking. What gets the death penalty anymore? I mean, what does it? This guy wanted to go break him out. What's even more shocking about the scenario, Luigi not getting the death penalty, this guy wanting to go break him out, The Minnesota man, now identified as Mark Anderson, it's what he allegedly wanted to use to break him out. A barbecue fork and a pizza cutter. That's what he was armed with. That's what he was armed with when he went to try to break the dude out of jail. What? Okay. I wrap your head around that one. Wrap your head around that one. It's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to do some of that. All right. Anything else? Dan Bongino's back next week. He's dropping leaflets about what he saw inside the FBI. His show again. I don't remember what time. Maybe 10 to noon or something. I'm not sure exactly. I have to check that out, but it'll be podcasted as well. I think he was on Fox News the other night talking about what you can expect coming in the days ahead.
And I was reading through some stuff that you can only read in the office, and it just involved basically the collusion hoax, Crossfire Hurricane, as it went by, and the various other spinoffs. And when you read from the inside, Sean, when you see the details of what these just absolute animals did to President Trump, and the barriers that broke down and the guardrails, it was, I mean, I'm not shocked often, Sean. I'm really not. I'm not, again, I'm not trying to put on some faux set of armor. I'm just not shocked often. I've lived 1,000 lifetimes between the Secret Service, the NYPD, running for office, TV shows, and all this other stuff. Just reading through it and seeing it in detail for the first time all put together, you can run a republic like this. You can't. Wow. You absolutely cannot. It was just stunning at how all these guardrails broke down at the exact same time, and nobody there. Thank God there was it was and still is a long-ranging investigation into this stuff, because it's just frightening how no one thought to speak up and say, hey, man, not only is this wrong, this is like demonic. This is evil stuff.
Should be an interesting first show. I can tell you that much. Hats off to Dan Bongino. Welcome back. I know folks will be looking forward to that. Also next week, Pizza and Politics. Tudor Dixon, host of the Tudor Dixon podcast, going to be moderating that big Secretary of State forum, the old Art Van location on Alpine. Doors open at 5:30, and you get pizza. By the way, it's a free event, and politics. So there you have it. No, I don't think the guy trying to break Luigi Mangione is going to be there cutting up the pizza. I think it'll be pre-cut. Michigan Joe says over on Locals in a VIP, pizza cutter and a barbecue fork. That dude watched way too much MacGyver. The only thing missing in his case, the pizza cutter and the barbecue fork. The only thing missing was the duct tape. That's it. Hey, coming up at 11 today, we're doing the data center deep dive conversation on why folks are so concerned and what needs to happen next. The stories that you need most, we're going to cover today. Now, that'll drop for everyone as a podcast tomorrow. But in the meantime, if you want to hear it first, right? Or even ask questions, be involved in the conversation. Maybe you're facing this and you want to know how to fight this in your community and some of the issues that you're concerned about. Jump in. If you're a VIP member, you can watch this and be a part of it in the conversation today at 11 on Locals. Join us in that conversation coming up today. All right, we are back with more. Go to justinbarkley.com/locals to be involved, by the way. Healthwithjustin.com. I kicked off everything yesterday. I'm feeling better than ever already, and the mission is underway to make America healthy again. And yes, that starts with me and you. You can join me at healthwithjustin.com. Healthwithjustin.com. Maha, Missy, and the team standing by to help you. Let's do it together today. preparewithjustin.com to find out how you can save more on the winter survival kits that are on sale right now. And yes, you can help join in the fight in Minnesota to help get our good friend Mike Lindell elected as governor. They got the mega sale. Might as well call that the mega sale. The winter mega sale happening. All kinds of great deals and all kinds of great goodies from mypillow.com/Justin or mystore.com/Justin. Just use promo code Justin when you log in for the pillows, the towels, which I love, the mattresses and the mattress toppers, the My Coffee, all of the great goodies inside. Pillows as low as $17.98, slippers as low as $39.98. It's incredible, and it's a sale right now happening at mypillow.com or mystore.com/Justin. Promo code Justin. Do it today. Every time you do buy anything from Mike, remember you help support him in the fight and this program too. That's why we appreciate you and love every single time you make your purchases with Patriot.